own team a wee bit different down here, innit? A wee bit weird. So where you're sitting used to be a wall, you'd have been in the kitchen. So we'd never have seen you. Don't even start any smart talk. Don't even start it. Oh, just cut that off right in time, donkey. That's all we're needing. That's a yellow card for you. We've not even kicked off yet.
I was talking to him up there.
Aye. So I'm going to bow out very quickly. I'm going to hand you over to our host for this evening. Before I do so, just to check everyone is okay with photographs on the night. Yeah. Cool. Bit of paparazzi here. We're going to do Lally. As always, feel free to ask as many questions as you want. And it's no me answering them, so you might get a sensible answer for a wee change. But we shall find out. So, we'll do 3 drams, we'll take a wee break. We'll do another 3 drams. Is there any way we can kill the music? Would be much as it's almost lovely. Good lad. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Georgie!
Hi everyone, thanks for coming down. I am going to talk to you tonight about the heart cut and why my husband and I wanted to build our dream whiskey company, because I've worked in whiskey for 15 years. It's been my whole career. In fact, pre-career, I was working in whiskey as a bartender. And the heart cut is everything I've seen over the last 15 years condensed into one thing that I can't tell you how much I believe in it. So it's an absolute pleasure to be able to take you through this tonight. Now, as we all know, a story best told is done well with a dram in hand. So we're actually gonna, I'm gonna quickly tell you about the first whiskey that we're gonna have so that you can slowly sip away at it while I ramble on and give you my blockbuster monologue about the heart cut. But it is always best with a dram in hand. So actually the first whiskey that we're gonna have tonight, and I need to get my left and rights figured out here. We're starting on the top left. And yes, I did just do that for anyone that was wondering what I was doing there. This first whiskey that we're starting with is actually our 11th release that we brought out, and it's a small batch that I made alongside Louise and JJ Corey. So we've released today, we've been going for 2 years, the heart cut, and we've released to date 21 whiskies from 17 distilleries across 11 countries. We exist to showcase the true breadth of style, of flavour and geography of whiskey today. That's what gets me excited, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why we've decided to do that in a minute. Now, out of those 21 releases, we've done 20 single casks and 1 small batch, and this is the small batch. And when I say small, this is one of just 519 bottles, so it is small. Has anyone here had JJ Corey before? Sweet, well you all should look a little bit more excited then. So Louise is like a rock star. She, like me, was in sort of like corporate booze beforehand, working at Diageo. Family live in Ireland. Family have a beautiful sort of estate in County Clare, and just field after field of just green pastures. And she founded JJ Corey about 10-11 years ago to bring the lost art of whiskey bonding back to life. So Louise, like us, she doesn't make whiskey, but she works with distillers across all of Ireland to build up what she calls her library of flavours. So her library of flavours is essentially her warehouse, and oh my god, it's the most stunning stone warehouse amidst green fields, the family horse sort of nearby neighing away, and the neighbour who's like 90-year-old coming to help on the tractor every day and stuff. But she's got this incredible warehouse where when you walk into it, on the cask ends, she's got flavours written. So you'll go in and you'll see that one cask is labelled like freshly cut grass, or fresh pear, or smoky bacon, or hazelnut, or pure joy is on the end of one of them. And she works with all of the distillers to build up a library of new makes that she's then aging through in different casks. She specifically focuses on sherry as well, because she really loves how Irish whiskey and the different varietals of Irish whiskey are working with sherry. And I built this small batch whiskey with her. So this is actually a blend of four different casks, but portions of, not the whole casks. So the brief was to create sunshine in a glass, something.
Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Stop. You can't hear me.
Oh, you can't hear me. Sorry, guys. Can you still hear me over here?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I will project. So the brief was to create sunshine in a glass. So out of those four different single casks, two were single pot stills, one was a single grain, and one was a single malt. So reflecting the whole landscape of Irish whiskey today. Two of them were fully matured in Oloroso and PX. One was finished in Oloroso, and the other one was finished in Pajarete. And Pajarete is a fortified wine from Malaga in Spain. There's only one producer of it left. It has the same thickness and viscosity as a PX, but it's slightly more citrusy. And we built a whiskey that honestly, for me anyway, just tastes like fresh pear, icing sugar, vanilla custard Danish. It's a 48% ABV, so it's actually the lowest ABV that we're going to have tonight. Across the range, all of our whiskies are non-chill filtered and no caramel colouring. And we're starting here because I just think it's just such a lovely, easy drinking, delicious, warming, nice whiskey to start the evening off with. So, cheers to that. Cheers. Cheers. So, while you're enjoying this, a little bit about the heart cut. So, as I said, I've worked in whiskey for 15 years. I actually started my career behind bars in Edinburgh. And then after I left university, I did my dissertation on whiskey and regional identity. And after I left university, I started working at the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, the SMWS. And it was there that I really fell in love, like fully, properly head over heels with whiskey. And I also fell in love with independent bottlings. And I fell in love with the freedom and flexibility to, through a curated range, show the world how you see whiskey, right? I loved how independent bottlings can be a force for good for the entire industry. And I just love the variety that you can bottle and who you can work with and how you can work. After I worked there, I started working for Diageo for about 3 years and then on to Bacardi for 8 as a global brand ambassador for about 8 years. Anyway, in the time that I've been in whiskey, I've seen whiskey change in two really, really big ways. One, it's now made all across the world. It's not just drunk all across the world. And there are passionate distillers across all four corners of the globe who are making a whiskey to the quality of Scotch, but they're making it so that it tastes like home to them. They're zigging where Scotch zag, and they're wearing like their provenance on their sleeve. They're not trying to make Scotch, they're trying to make a symbolic whiskey that is totally unique to them. It's something that's still within all of our like flavor bases. It's not an unfamiliar flavor, but the story, I mean, that's the stuff that gets me excited, right? Distillers in New Zealand working with Manuka with smoking their whiskey, through to distillers and winemakers working side by side. And I loved hearing the story of all of these distillers, right? The second big thing that I've seen change over the last 15 years is the diversity of drinker, which is exceptional and should be applauded. And also our approach to whiskey as well. I think, you know, we're all looking not just for a dram, but we're also looking at how flexible a dram can be and how you might want to use it in cocktails or how you approach flavor. And I think 15 years ago, we all had that one whiskey that we always went to time after time again. And now we like to shop around, you know, we're a little bit brand promiscuous, as it were, and we like to try a variety of different whiskies. But it kind of frustrated me, because when I looked out on the independent bottling landscape, and I know I'm with an independent bottler here, so I will, you know, calm myself down a bit, but when I looked out at the independent bottling landscape, for the most part, people were focusing on Scotch. And I love Scotch, and I know where I am. I know I'm in Scotland, don't worry. But I was like, you're focusing on Scotch, which is just one but area of this total whiskey landscape, right? And that really frustrated me. And I also looked out on the landscape, and I was like, everyone is, like, there's no description of why the whiskey tastes the way it does, or the story behind the distilleries, or what does the whiskey inside the bottle actually taste like, right? I kept seeing on labels tasting notes that just included vanilla and oak and a load of adjectives. and everything kind of looked the same. So Fabrizio, my husband, and I, Fab comes from a drinks background as well. In 2021 we started talking, and we were like, what if we look to do something different? What if we look to shine the spotlight on distilleries across the world that we were excited by, in the hope that other people would discover them too? And what if through a curated range of bottling all of these distilleries and working with different distilleries across the world, we could, I suppose, like, inspire a more explorative drinking experience and be that guidance and be that introduction point. And so in September of 2023, 3 days before we had our twin girls, we launched the Heart Cut.
Oh my goodness.
Now, a little word of warning here, I would totally recommend having twins. Okay? If you're in
Well, you never know, I'm still waiting to find out.
Because it's kind of like a 2-in-1 done. If you're thinking of that, right? Not that you can decide, but it was great, right? And I would also totally recommend founding your dream whiskey company. I would not recommend doing it in the same week. I would not recommend doing that. Okay. But 2 years in, as I said, we've done 21 releases, and we've actually won Independent Bottler of the Year twice globally at the Icons of Whiskey Awards. So, we won after 6 months against everyone from Scotland, Ireland, America. We were in the rest of world category. And then again after 18 months, which was amazing. And we're actually up this Thursday for Spirits Bottler of the Year at the Spirits Business Awards. So fingers crossed for that.
Good luck.
Thank you. But it's really nice because those awards are basically our peers saying, yeah, you're doing something different, but we really like what you're doing. So, see, I told you you'd need a dram in hand for this, which I did tell you. So, tonight what we've got are 6 different whiskies from our collection, and a variety of different flavors. I've kind of curated it so we're going up in terms of flavor intensity. So we're starting, as I said, with the JJ Corey, which I think is just shakes off the shackles of the bad weather. And then we'll work our way up. I've not got anything smoky here tonight.
Look at the smile on your face like that.
Because I got told that some people like smoke, and then some people aren't so fond of smoke. But what I do have is 6 amazing whiskies that will make you think. And some of these whiskies you might not like, but I am totally okay with that, because we're not all supposed to like the same whiskey or it would be boring. But my hope is if you don't like something, you at least find the flavour interesting, or you at least find the story of how the cask made the cut interesting as well. Okay? So, starting with our JJ Corey. What do we think of that first one? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Yeah? Yeah? Great. Awesome.
Any comments on it, guys?
Long finishes, nice.
Long finish.
See that I'm alright, Andy. Thanks anyway. But do you know, it's funny. The one thing when I'm presented with something Irish, the one thing I would normally, definitely think, well, it's not going to have a long finish.
Yeah.
Triple distillation always for me seems to cut it a wee bit short. Don't know why, it just does for me. So for the first comment to be, it's got a long finish, that's surprised me. But there again, you're using pot still, you're using column still, you're using the single malts, everything. So that's really going to tease it out a wee bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So if dash of water.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, look, these are a little bit stronger. I would recommend, if you feel the whiskey needs water, you add water. With the whiskies that we're having tonight, only one of them is cask strength. So all of the whiskies are, as I said, non-chill filtered and no caramel colouring, but we typically don't bottle at cask strength, but our whiskies are stronger. So average strength is between 52 to 55%. The reason for that is that sometimes cask strength whiskey is really fucking strong, right? I realise the clue's in the name, it's cask strength, you know. However, what we do is Fab and I, once we picked a cask, and I'll talk about how we go about working with different distilleries and all of that once we've got another dram in hand. But once we picked a cask, we'll work on finding that really lovely balance where flavour and alcohol are just like perfectly combined. So we often hear that our whiskies don't taste the strength they are, which I absolutely love. It's music to my ears. So with that in mind, should we move on to the second one? Yeah?
I've got a funny feeling they'll not take a lot of persuasion, John.
Yeah.
Definitely go with this one.
So we're going to move on to your top right. Thank you. Moving on to your top right. And we're actually moving here from Ireland over to the Pacific Northwest of America. This is our latest release that we just brought out, and I'm so proud of this one. So this is from a distillery called Westland. Has anyone had, did you get it?
Yes.
Well done!
Wait, she just said Westland before you said it, yeah?
Has anyone had Westland before? A few of you have, a few of you haven't. Wonderful. We're going to top right. Yes. Yes. The one in the corner.
You're a joke.
When I redesign these tasting mats, I'm going to put numbers in the circles, just so you know for if I ever get invited back. Right, so this is from Westland, and the reason that I love Westland is that they are one of a few distilleries who are at the forefront of the American single malt movement. So the distillery was founded in like the 2010s. In fact, a lot of the distilleries that we work with are fairly new distilleries. And what I love about them is not only are they making a single malt, but purely like actually tasting of the Pacific Northwest, but they're also trying to do so sort of in line with giving back to their natural environment as well, which is wonderful to see. Now, American single malt is something that I'm super excited about. We have also bottled a single cask from Westwood, also in the Pacific Northwest, so it does get a little bit confusing. And American single malt wasn't actually an official category until earlier this year. And it actually took a group of craft distillers, of smaller players, coming together and lobbying to the government to say, this is what we think American single malt whiskey should actually be for the law to be changed. And what's cool is that the smaller distillers started that. People like Westland, like Westwood, like Stranahan's, and then the bigger players started supporting, rather than the other way around, which is just brilliant to see. Now, has anyone smelled this whiskey yet? Has anyone tasted it yet? What do you think?
Lovely.
Lovely? Lovely. Yeah, it's really, really,
Yeah.
really something. Yeah. So, What if I told you that this whiskey is actually peated?
It's just straight to stop. 5-6 ppm. I don't know.
Very lightly.
It's very lightly.
It is honey. One of our lead tasting notes is honey.
Yeah, very
And
honey.
peanut butter on warm toast.
Yeah, I can see where that's coming
Yeah.
from.
No hot toast.
So, Westland have a local peat program. So when they were founded, they started working with actually Scottish barley that was peated in Scotland that they took over to the Pacific Northwest. The distillery is based in Seattle, in Washington, in downtown Seattle. And they started working with Scottish peat, but all the while they were kind of looking for local peat sources near them, and it honestly took one of them Googling peat bog near me.
Don't do that in Scotland.
To find a peat bog that actually wasn't protected, because a lot of their land around them is protected. And they found this peat bog on the Olympic Peninsula, which is also home to flying squirrels and roe deer, coincidentally. And this peat bog is made up of a very different vegetation to that on Islay, and definitely different to that of the Highlands of Scotland. It's incredibly herbaceous, and they've got all sorts of herbs there, things like Labrador tea and stuff that we don't quite get over here, but super ferny and piney. And so they started in 2016 digging out some of this peat and using it to malt their barley, right? And they only did a very small amount of it. And in 2023, they released their first whiskey from that local peat program called Solemn. And they've done an edition ever since then. And actually, Solemn, when it came out, won American Single Malt of the Year at the Icons of Whiskey Awards. And this is the first single cask ever released from that program outside of the Solemn range, which is really exciting. Now, we've been really careful with the word smoke in here, because I think sometimes when we hear the word smoky whiskey and smoke, our minds, even if it's not there, it will paint a picture of smoke being there. This is not smoky, but that local peat has added like this beautiful herbaceous complexity to the whiskey, and it's just added like an extra dimension of flavor. It's added an oomph, and it's helped bring out other flavors in the mix. So I'm super, super proud of this whiskey. And I also love how it's telling a story of smoke and how it connects back to the local environment. To date, we've released 5 smoky whiskeys out of the 21 that we've released, and each one has been smoked in a different way. Manuka wood smoked single cask from Thompson in New Zealand, a heather smoked single malt from Stauning in Denmark, a Lockley fully matured in an ex-Islay cask, so cask-borne smoke, then one from White Peak, probably the most traditional, lightly peated using Scottish smoked malt, and then fully matured in Tawny Port, and then this one here. And what we're trying to do with all of our whiskies is each one is a different education point. Each one is a different opportunity to talk about a different way of looking at flavour and whiskey and how it works around the world. And so having a peaty whiskey from the Pacific Northwest that doesn't taste smoky but just is herbaceous and beautiful adds to that. So, there we go.
You ever tried Shelter Point?
Yeah, I've been there.
Really
Yeah,
good.
good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, really, really good.
Shelter Point is just across the water from Seattle. It's on
The shipping the cask is
Vancouver
very
Island.
expensive.
Yeah,
And it's, I mean, it's young, but it's bloody good.
yeah.
Certainly one that I've got an eye on for one day.
Good, you should.
Well, we're just bottled up for Dutch whiskey,
Nice.
and we will be bottling most probably our first German one next year.
Great.
So I'm a firm believer in the everything said. Good, excellent is excellent. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Excellent is excellent. And so long as you've got something which is excellent, that's something that should be put into the whiskey drinking world. Not so easy in Germany because there's a lot of not very excellent. You just go and find the people in the haystack.
Yeah. Any questions?
What strength is that?
53. Doesn't taste it. No.
You get balance, you don't taste that.
Yeah. That is 53%, and this is one of 306 bottles. So on each of our bottles, we give you the strength, we give you the number of bottles, and we'll give you the date distilled and the date bottled. We don't have age statements on the front of our whiskies. And the reason for that, you can work out the age if you want to, but actually...
Only the ones that can count.
So this part of the room then.
Johnny will keep us right.
Age is not the most important factor when it comes to this whiskey, especially because we're working with distillers all across the world who are maturing their whiskey in different climates and literally fundamentally making their whiskey with a different mindset. These are distillers, as I said, they've all been founded after, well, actually one distillery, the next one was founded in 1984, but the rest of them are all after the year 2000, all after 2010. These are distillers who are looking to bring out whiskey, I suppose, at a younger age, but they're making whiskey in a different way so it can be brought out at a younger age. And we're working with climates all over the shot here. So instead we have the tasting notes, and for this one we put it tastes like honey, creamy peanut butter, grilled peaches, beach bonfire, and sea breeze. Which, I don't know about you, but sounds a hell of a lot more exciting as a search than vanilla. Oak. Smooth.
Smooth. What should be put to the wall for putting that on?
There we go.
I'd love somebody just to go, you know what, rough, vicious,
Nasty.
to be honest.
The society bottle, I think.
Yeah.
Become a bottle high commissioner, smooth. Oh.
Chili. Satan's urine. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So,
That's enough about two bottles.
with independent bottlers, obviously the idea is to give like a different point of view for what the spirit can be. And I think that like the more you drink from an independent bottler, the more you start to understand and expect what you can get from, let's say, a Colina from Gordon MacPhail, for instance. But what you're saying is that, first of all, you keep doing new things, and you're also saying that here's something that you've never tried before. So basically, whereas with a lot of IBs, I can start to expect what it is I'm going to get, you're in a way telling me, how about you gamble with this one?
Really good. I'm going to turn, so your question is, how do I know what to buy?
Yes, it's not how do I know.
It's an invention.
It's not how do I know what to buy. It's how because you start to understand what each IB is aiming for.
Yeah.
What you're aiming for is something I've not had before.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I'm going to like it or not.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble every time.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, not a gamble.
So,
It's an adventure if it's free.
Tighter man, that's just so you have one.
so
It's a gamble if you're paying for it.
two things on that. All right, and you're right. We are bringing out different things every time. I'm not just bottling a series of TNNX here, okay? Because the world has enough of that, okay? So two things. Yes, every time we bring something out, it's different. But as you buy more and more from us, and you look at the tasting notes, that's Fab and myself. Plus, we have a small little tasting panel that we work with, a group of 4 palates from the industry whose palates we just like hugely respect, who help us when we're in between casks, when we might be speaking to a distiller. I was up at Ardnamurchan this morning and I've got 4 cask samples in my bag, and I know that I'm going to be sending out samples to them because I want to know what they think as well, because I think sometimes you can be in the echo chamber of your own palate, right? So we'll speak to them about casks, tasting notes, and then proofing. When we're trying to fit, we might be between like 53 or 54%, and actually 1% makes a big difference. huge difference. The more you buy from us, the more you read those tasting notes, the more you go, yeah, I now know how their brain works. I know I'm gonna like this, or I know I'm not gonna like this, right? So that's one way of doing it. The second way is, excuse me, I'm gonna prop. 1 second.
That's a good part with props, with
We've
samples.
just started selling these online.
Okay, how's it?
They've had some of them by Tom Bourne.
That's gel for runners.
So these we're calling pocket pours. And these are 30 ml samples that you can buy on our website that give you an opportunity to try before you buy, to explore more, to host tastings, to take it on the train, have a nice dram on the airplane when you're watching
Great for
film.
getting into football, getting into gigs.
I had a friend that took some to the rugby because they're not glass, right?
That's innovation.
And if you buy 4, you get 10% off. Right?
Oh, you can smile now, you get 10% off.
And they are fully recyclable with your soft plastics, okay? They don't weigh anything. These don't break in the post like little glass bottles, okay? So that is another way that when we bring out a new release, you can go, I like the sound of that, I want to try it, I'm going to buy a pocket pour or buy 4 for 10% off because I want to
Or she's good.
and then you can go, I really liked that, I want to buy a bottle, or I'm glad I tried it, it's not for me, but it was a new flavour that I hadn't experienced before.
So there's no escape door. Bet you bet should never have sample.
So, and a couple more things, actually, sorry, I'm not just digging into you here, it's just this is a good talking
No, or
point.
just
And a great chance for you to enjoy, a great chance for you to enjoy the drums you've got in front of you. We'll jump on to the third one in a minute. Don't jump ahead to the third one yet. Just give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. If you want consistency, there's so many other brands out there that you can go to, right? But we are actually launching at the end of next week our first core release, which is actually an
Sorry.
I actually got in so much trouble for making a joke about tea and at the
Really?
whiskey show in London.
Oh my god.
Because I digged into it when I was on stage talking about the future of independent bottle aims with Alex Bruce from Adelphi and then Phil Thompson from Thompson Bros. And I made a joke about tea and because I just picked on it. And Phil Thompson went really quiet and then just looked at me because we all had a bottle in front of us that we were pouring out.
Oops.
And of course he went tea and
Oh no!
Anyway, it's a good whiskey. I'm just picking on it as one. Anyway. No, it's actually an English blended malt. That's seen us work with 5 different English distilleries. The Cotswolds, White Peak, the English, Copper River and Adnams, right? Not only that, but we have on our website, when you go to it to buy your pocket pours, you'll see that we have on our website Whiskey Matchmaker. It asks you questions like, it's toast for breakfast, what are you spreading on it? Or feeling fruity, what fruit floats your boat? And you're popping down to your favourite bakery on a Sunday morning, what are you picking up, right? And 5,000 people, over 5,000 have filled this in. And in the back end, we've been able to see what 5,000 plus whiskey drinkers like in whiskey. And so we've created our first core release based on some of those flavours. So this whiskey just honestly tastes like strawberry jam and milk chocolate and cinnamon buns and fresh raspberries and thick vanilla cream. And it's
God, I've just put another half stone on.
Just think about it.
I know.
I knew it came.
of whiskey. They sell them in
Yeah.
India a lot. A Tetra Pak,
So,
they're straw like a
very nice.
quenchy cup.
Well, I mean, that's it, whatever you do, don't drink it.
Anyway, so if you want consistency, we've got that coming out from next week, but that's hot off the press. You're actually the first people I've told about that. So, there we go. Does that answer your question? Thank you. More than honest.
Get your order in now.
Right, should we move on to the third whiskey? Great. So actually, I shouldn't have said whiskey there, because this isn't a whiskey. Has anyone tried this yet? You've just tried it. You've never tasted. I knew you just tried it. I could see your face.
Right.
That's not right.
Is it spicy? Perfumey. What is it? What have we got?
I'll tell you in a minute. Tell you what, try it first. I'm going to give you all a minute. I'm going to give you all a minute. Try it, smell it, taste it. I'll bring you all back in a minute, and then I'll tell you what this is.
There'll be a lot of, like, see like the kind of spice you used to have, cinnamon balls or cinnamon balls. That kind of pepper is what spices. I'll be nice. I like it.
Sorry?
Tastes like tummy.
It tastes what?
Tummy.
Yeah. Spicy.
Pretty delightful, yeah. So there we go. I don't know what that is.
Very
I
no.
don't think anyone would have had
I
anything.
don't know, it tastes like alcoholic chicken soup.
So that's really good.
Chicken soup. Yeah.
What's that? St. George.
You just have one. I mean, that sounds a drink when you wake up and you feel unwell.
We are more mainstream. Our distributors are more mainstream.
It's very English. It's very English. That's what it is. That's for sure.
So, our approach doesn't we're not trying to be
Even with Scotch, we've never got any good at
do you know what I mean? It's like,
Anyway, we cannot be everybody's friend.
I heard chicken.
alright. So, hands up on this one without even knowing what this is. Hands up who likes this. Yeah. Hands up who's finding it interesting. Yeah. Hands up who's like, no, this is absolute no.
What's that? You can guarantee if there was one, it's stop. Guaranteed.
So, this next one that we're having is from St. George
It's
Spirits.
English.
St. George Spirits in San Francisco.
The other St. George.
Not St. George. So when I say St. George Spirits, usually people think of the English distillery, which was originally called the St. George Spirits until they got a cease and desist from this St. George Spirits, who were the OG St. George Spirits. So that's why they changed their name to the English. So St. George Spirits is over in San Francisco on Alameda Island. It was founded by a guy called George Rolfe, who came from the Black Forest in Germany, and he was an eau de vie distiller. And he took his love of eau de vie distilling to California and sort of combined it with all of the ripe, succulent stone fruit and ripe fruit that he found on the west coast of America. For a while he only made eau de vies, but they were picked up by quite a few people, including people like Julia Childs, who were like, this is amazing, right? But then he started making other things. Vodka, gin, his terroir gin made with like local pine, Douglas fir and fresh bay is like the most amazing gin I've ever had. And whiskey, and he sees whiskey as an eau de vie of barley. His whole team does. In fact, his master distiller, Lance, used to be a nuclear engineer before then being a brewer and now a distiller. That's a career
Nuclear
path.
distiller.
Sorry?
A nuclear distiller.
A nuclear distiller. And where they are on the west coast, they're friends with a lot of other industries around them, including quite a few breweries. And this actually started out at a brewery. This is actually a distilled coffee stout. So they work with, I can't name the brewery, I'm not allowed to, but they work with an incredibly famous and well-regarded Californian brewery. And every once in a while, the brewer will call up the distillery and be like, I've got a whiskey beer for you, i.e. I've got a beer that maybe didn't go the way I planned, or a super small batch that I'm too big to be able to do anything with this. And St. George were on our wouldn't it be cool if list from the beginning. I visited the distillery twice when I was global ambassadoring. I never thought we'd have the opportunity to partner with them, right? And we actually only buy our casks directly from our partner distilleries, never from brokers. And we were told from the outset that that model wouldn't work, the distilleries wouldn't sell to us, and we were like, we'll give it a try. So we made a wouldn't it be cool if list, and actually we've been able to partner with all but one of those distilleries, and since then we've now had distilleries coming to us saying, let's do something, which is like honestly amazing. But St. George was always on there, and not in a million years did I think that they'd want to work with us. A little mum and pup brand, as their CEO at the time called us. But he was like, actually, I really like what you do. I love what you'll stand for. I'd love to do something with you. So they sent us 4 cask samples, and we actually ended up buying 2 casks from them. Both of them distilled beer. Number 8, I think that was the one that you liked before, was actually a sage-infused, heavily hopped IPA that was then matured in a 4th fill cask. A cask that previously contained bourbon, reposado tequila, a Californian ale, and then the whiskey. A total complex oddity that on paper you hear that and you're like, that is just whack. But my God, it's incredible. And then this one, so this, as I said, was a distilled coffee stout. And actually, now I've said coffee, pick up the glass, give it a nose, give it a smell, and you do get coffee. But like good, you know when you walk past a good coffee shop and you get that blast of freshly ground espresso out the door, that's what you get in this. And it was then distilled in a new American oak cask. And it is, I kept hearing spice around it. It's just spicy and it's green. For me, this smells like fresh jalapeno and green bell pepper. And then the coffee comes through on the palate. I think it's amazing and it's extraordinary. And it's a whiskey that makes you think. And when you hear the story behind it, you go, yeah, I get it. And we love a beer pairing. We call it a half and half.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
Instead of a half and half. See what I did there? Half and half, yeah.
You need to explain that at least twice more.
Yeah. Surely that deserves a bit more recognition. Thank you. And on our website, we suggest a beer pairing for all, as well as a playlist for all of our releases. But for this one, we've said it pairs really well with a coffee stout. And it does. You have this with a coffee stout, and it's mega. So there we go. 3 very different whiskies to start us off. We're going to have a little 15-minute disco break if you need another pint from upstairs, or a pee, or